Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, are WWE unhappy with SummerSlam?
Kenny Omega could be returning to AEW very soon.
Cora Jade has indeed put the belt in the bin.
And a major return on last night's NXT 2.0. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I think I'm heat exhausted.
And this is the news.
Is that a phrase? Is that a thing human beings say?
We're just not used to it in this country, guys.
Yeah. Man, that was rough. No sleep whatsoever.
No sleep till normal temperatures return.
Let's talk about wrestling. SummerSlam. WWE don't like it. They don't like SummerSlam.
What?
They don't like SummerSlam. This is according to WrestleVotes, who reported yesterday, and I'll just read you it. In the most WWE of ways, I had a source tell me this morning, quote, they really don't like the SummerSlam card. They being the people who put it together. What? Question mark? Exclamation mark? Okay. I mean, you guys booked the show, so if you don't like the construction of it, it's kind of on you.
It's like waking up in the morning, your house is trashed, and you go, who caused this? And then you're like, oh no, it was me before I went to bed. Yeah, that was it.
So I think the build to SummerSlam, it kind of had a cursed start, right? Because the first match they properly announced for it was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, which is high profile, obviously, but something we've seen a lot, even over the past 3 or 4 years in WWE, but they wrestled as recently as WrestleMania. So when Brock came out of that episode of SmackDown, it wasn't, the trilogy is complete. It was, just watched that a few months ago. So
I really wish Randy Orton wasn't injured right now.
Yeah. So it's kind of a hard sell. I do think that on paper, the card looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I am looking forward to watching it. The build, middling, particularly on Friday nights, but it's kind of the case a lot of the time, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Look, I think over the last week or so, it's got a lot better in my eyes. Like, this surreal addition of Jeff Jarrett to the tag team title match makes that intriguing, at least.
Yeah, that's the kind of a microcosm of the whole thing, isn't it? Because, yes, he's from Nashville, but really it doesn't make a lot of sense. However, it is fun.
Yes, exactly. And now they finally confirmed that we're getting Seth Rollins versus Riddle. Seth Rollins is on a hell of a run of form this year. That's going to be a great match. Logan Paul versus The Miz. That's intriguing. Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. Now it's all down on paper. Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey, all that sort of thing. And Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch again. I'd like it as a card. If they'd come out with this, say, 2 weeks ago, and I'd gone, that makes sense. I think now it kind of looks a lot better than it did. But I hate to sound like a broken record, but shouldn't be one of your big priorities following WrestleMania be, right, okay, the next big show is that one. Here's a provisional card. And people get injured. I know I said Randy Orton should have been in that main event spot. But, you shouldn't be annoyed at your own product.
Yeah, I think there are a few rematches on here. Bianca versus Becky, obviously, it's a year-long story. It's a chance for revenge for what happened last year and all of that stuff. So, there's different bits and pieces that do work here. But I think generally for me, and this is just a generality. Ring general, Walter, whatever. Generally for me, when the build isn't particularly awesome, the show's usually really good.
Yes.
So I'm hopeful. Also, it's a Saturday in the UK, which, as I've said before, from our point of view, is a good thing if you're watching it. If you're covering it, it's a bit different, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
I think it always gets good on the big premium live events for WWE. So it doesn't really matter. That talent that they've got, they could hoist anyone in a match together, and chances are they'll pull out a great match. And even if they're not, Jeff Jarrett's going to be there, so I'm kind of okay with all of it.
Always wins.
Switching gears now, channeling my inner Michael Cole. Let's switch to them over there, AEW. Big news coming out last night, a lot of excitement on the internet, because Kenny Omega could be returning to action soon. He's been out for, 8 months now? Last time we saw
November.
him, last time we saw him, he lost the world title, of course, to Hangman Page, and he had been part of a huge list that I'm going to run through of all the injured people in AEW. They feel a bit cursed at the moment. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer had previously reported that the clash between the Young Bucks and FTR was sidelined because the Bucks have a major angle in the works that is yet to happen. And now, Fightful Select, no crap, just Sapp, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, is saying that there are tentative plans for Omega and Young Bucks to work a 6-man tag program for September's All Out pay-per-view. And Andy, it's just tinged with like mixed emotions because we need Kenny Omega back. He's
Sure.
Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Andrade, Santana, Jungle Boy, Red Velvet, The Bunny, Scorpio Sky, Darius Martin, and others all out, right?
Yeah.
Ironic for the pay-per-view. But don't take away my all the belts 2 out of 3 falls match that I fantasy booked and everyone else has as well between the Bucks and FTR. But Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks in a match together. Oh, okay.
I think the All the Belts match came off the table last week, really, didn't it? When Swerve and Keith Lee won the AEW tag team title matches. So that doesn't seem to be a priority for them at the moment, which I found quite surprising. But I was also quite into the title win as well. So there you go.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been taken off guard by this, and understandably so, because every report on Kenny Omega has been, he's big injured. Like every single time it's been, he's going to be a while longer. It's taken ages. He's had 20 operations. The poor guy sounds like he was held together by chewing gum by the end of it, and kinesio tape by the end of it.
And there was that panic, wasn't there, where he was like on that Twitch stream. And he was like, if I get injured again, that's it forever. Yeah. You're like, what?
Not rehabbing like this again. So it's understandable that this has caused such surprise. I'm surprised by the program as well, because who are the best options for this trios program? Immediately you'd think the Undisputed Elite, given what was going on before Kenny left and what's happened since then. But Adam Cole is currently injured and Kyle O'Reilly is currently injured, and who are your other better options? I don't know. There are things like the House of Black, which would be an awesome match. But storyline-wise, I think the Undisputed thing is probably the most compelling. We'll find out. Just hope Kenny's doing well. Hope he's happy. Hope he's healthy. And I will say as well that I'll trust the medical team over my gut feeling when it comes to being is he ready and stuff like that.
Yeah, I shared the panic that many people did of please don't tell me you're rushing back just because of this injury crisis in AEW. But it's Kenny Omega, he knows his body best, and like you say, they've got some of the best medical people there in AEW, so fingers crossed, excited to see what happens next. It's Dynamite tonight, isn't it?
Dynamite.
Firefest Night 2, baby!
Let's do it, baby.
Week 2, innit? Sorry,
barbed wire everywhere, so...
Willow Nightingale's wrestling.
There you go.
That's good for me. I love her. She's great.
Trios match. Stuff's happening. Also, what's the match I was really looking forward to? I forgot Brody King versus Darby Allin. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be good. Right. Cora Jade. She put the belt in the bin.
She put the belt in the bin?
She put the belt in the bin, in the words of AJ Styles on last night's NXT. Yeah. Last week she turned on Roxanne Perez. Not ideal for the women's tag team titles because they held them at the time, of course, but she turned on Roxanne. Last night she gave a big speech. It was a good promo.
Good promo, yeah.
Yeah, talking about how they just won the tag team titles and Perez was over here challenging for a singles belt and all of this stuff. She claimed that she'd been the face of the women's division. She'd be on the posters. She got Perez a job, her best friends, and some jealousy stuff, some bitterness. It's classic tag team partners turning on each other's stuff. She called Perez a selfish bitch, getting all TV-14 over here, and then admitted to attacking her in the parking lot, bragged about it. And then said that the belt she was holding was a lie. She went over to a bin and she put the belt in the bin. This is, of course, a recreation of the angle, the infamous shoot, of Medusa crossing over from WWF to WCW in 1995 and putting the belt in the bin. She was, of course, the WWF Women's Champion at the time. It's an infamous thing that led to Medusa being blacklisted by WWE for 20 years. Until she was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
And what did she do on that speech?
She put the belt in the bin.
Yeah, there you
Everybody puts the belt in the bin. There you go.
What did you make of the people saying, this is a shot at Sasha and Naomi?
No, never in a million years. It's not beyond WWE to do these petty kind of thing. I shouldn't say never in a million years, but I'm very dubious of this. It feels like an extreme reach. If they were going to do this kind of thing, they would have done it on Raw or SmackDown because the NXT audience is tiny compared to those shows. It was, to me, that shot idea comes from a lack of frame of reference. I think it's a pretty clear tribute to the Medusa thing.
Yes.
It's an acknowledgement of it. I don't think it's a shot at Naomi and Sasha. WWE are not beyond such things. I think that's a reach. I popped for this because I'm old and I remember the original spot.
Yeah, I think it's a happy coincidence. I think they were like, does this scan as a bit of a shot at Sasha and Naomi? I think they were like, I don't really mind if it does, but I am agreeing with you and the general consensus in the WhatCulture office today that it is probably more, just a classic angle. And what do we always say about heels? They've always got to have that element where you think, I can kind of see where they're coming from there.
Yeah.
And her saying, like, 30 minutes after we won the tag titles, you're there challenging for the world title. This is a load of bollocks. I was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed NXT 2.0 last night. We'll talk a little bit more about it now, in fact.
It was 2 point good,
Yes.
actually. So take that. You can put that in your headline.
2 point good. Print it. Because there was also a new number
I'm
one...
so tired,
Yeah,
man.
me too. A new number one contender crowned for the NXT Women's Championship, of course held by Mandy Rose, because it was a 20-woman battle royal in the main event. And not only have we got a new number one contender, it was a surprise return that caused the person... I don't know what I'm saying there. That's not a sentence. But anyway, a surprise return happened, and then that person became the number one contender. It's Zoe Stark. The QR code, I think it's related to, Hamlet was telling me, it was the timestamp of when she got injured or something like that, which is actually quite good stuff.
That's really good.
From WWE. She returned as part of this 20-woman battle royal. The final four were Zoe Stark, Nikita Lyons, Kiana James, and Tiffany Stratton. Last two, Stark and Stratton. Stark got rid of her, did the whole celebration thing, but anyone who's actually paying attention had seen that Cora Jade had been in the match, but ran out earlier, but under the bottom rope, and you're like, they're going to do the whole Shawn Michaels, right, gimmick. But no, it looked like she was going to jump her, and then I think he just low-bridged her and became the number one contender. Yeah, Zoe Stark, number one contender. Great to see her back, and good surprise.
Yeah, nasty injury for sure, and that's when what was it an ACL or an MCL?
Sandy, yeah,
there was a something CL involved, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's good to have her back for sure, because when you hear of injuries of that severity, you think, they're going to be gone for ages. Relatively quick turnaround for her, so that's impressive. WWE they're clearly putting a bit of stock into her, not only with this win, but previously she had the women's tag team title reign. The stuff in the sushi restaurant was
bad.
Something they should never do again. Let's not speak of that anymore. It was terrible. But yeah, she's very talented. She has a lot of promise. This is good. Don't think she'll be the one to take the belt from Mandy Rose.
Nikita Lyons, you reckon?
They seem to be building Nikita Lyons up for something else.
That's what I liked as well, because I was like, if you're going to get rid of Nikita Lyons and not have her win it, you need someone decent. And I'm not saying, Tiffany Stratton's not decent. She's great. She's really come on leaps and bounds.
Loads,
just doesn't work, Mandy Rose versus Tiffany Stratton. Yeah. But, so you've got Nikita Lyons on the back burner and Zoe Stark, who got a great reaction. And, fantastic to see her back. And good luck to her against Mandy Rose. Toxic attraction. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. If you want to get in touch with us, we are both delirious today. No one slept in the UK last night because it's too hot. David Campbell starts us off. Who writes, good pitch this, I can buy this.
All right,
when Drew
Dave.
faces Roman for the title, do you think Austin Theory would get involved and cash in only for Drew to pin him instead of Roman in order to protect Roman?
Interesting. I think this is a solid idea. If you don't want to have Roman take the L while also taking the L.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll go for it. I do think they're going to go for the heroic, British guy wins in Wales kind of deal with Drew. And I think that they will try and keep that as clean as possible. So I don't think they're going to give Roman an out if they do that at Clash at the Castle by having Theory get involved. However, I can absolutely see Theory falling flat on his face with this briefcase, and this would be a pretty good way of doing it.
Yeah, I do like this. It's very feasible if you put your WWE hat on. And it also feels like a way of shenaniganing it so that they can do, because they're splitting the two belts up again, I reckon.
Yeah, they will eventually.
One way or another, they will find a way to have Roman retain that Universal Championship, and this might be the way they do it. But so is them now. Just don't say you're angry at your own premium live event setups when you book it yourself. Travis Zachary gives us our second question of the day. Says, hello, gents. What if Dominic joining the Judgment Day, is just a swerve? And it turns out it's Ray who's joining, telling Dom he should have taken the shot, thus robbing you of the electric chair you have so long desired. Don't do this to me, Trav.
What if Ray gives Dominic the electric chair?
Dark Ray Mysterio.
Dark Guff Ray Mysterio. It's WWE. They might just swerve in the complete opposite direction for hashtag reasons. I don't see it personally, but Dark Ray Mysterio might be quite funny.
Yes.
At least. Actually, Dark Dominic would be really funny.
Dark Dominic could be something else.
That's how I figure these things out. I think, what's gonna be the funniest option? You decide.
I'm putting you on the spot here. Can you remember the name of Rey Mysterio's wife? Because I want more of her on telly when she just stood there and watched her son get his head kicked in for a bit.
Yeah, I don't remember, man.
Stick in the comments.
I don't remember.
But yes, I don't think we're getting Rey Mysterio because he's sort of a perennial babyface, isn't he?
At this stage in his career, he's so sympathetic as well, and everyone loves Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
However, no, I don't want him. I don't want him in the Judgment Day.
Just bring Rhea Ripley back, please. I miss her.
Hope she's okay.
Yeah, she's in the gym. I've seen that, but I don't know. Presumably still suffering with that injury. Final question today comes from Sean Acklin, who writes, I think some wrestling legend recently said wrestling should use more DQ finishers.
Ooh.
I'm okay with more dirty finishers, but I want my matches to finish. Do you think wrestling needs more DQ finishers, clean finishers, dirty finishers, or what?
Interesting question. I think that different wrestling companies having different identities and different philosophies is broadly good. So I like that AEW doesn't use a glut of them. I like their spread of them. They do maybe 1 or 2 a year. I haven't sat down and crunched the numbers, but they don't do a lot. I think that's absolutely fine because when you see a match on a billboard, you know you're going to get a result.
Yep.
I think that WWE uses a little too many.
I agree.
And I think that, over in Japan, it's not really a thing as much. So, for me, when I see a match on a match graphic, I want to be able to get excited about it, which means I want to know that it's going to end rather than having some cheesy cop out and stuff. So the byproduct of this is that you do end up sometimes in AEW in situations where the outcome is a little bit predictable because you know that a certain person is in a place where they need to win or
Dante
whatever.
Martin's not taking the world title.
For sure, exactly. So, I can see an argument for a greater balance, but for me, absolutely not. Cut them down. I would cut them down in WWE even more.
Yeah, I don't really mind going, because we do lots of previews, obviously, on the podcast, WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from. I don't really mind sitting there and saying, oh, well, Sidge, John Moxley's going to retain the world title against this guy who's, they've just randomly hoyed into a championship match. I'd rather do that than him turn around to me after I've said, who do you reckon leaves us world champion in this? And he goes, you're not going to get a finish.
Yeah.
Like, 100% less DQ finishes, less screwy roll-up. Oh, what's that over there? Oh, forgotten how to wrestle. Gimmicks. So, I do that. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with a couple more in AEW, but I do like the purity of all. And, speaking of which, I didn't really know a lot about it. I watched WWE and AEW mostly for my sins. I should watch more. I mean,
those two companies produce like 15 hours of shows
well,
a week.
Granted.
It's a lot.
But I did like getting my first experience of the pure rules in Ring of Honor?
With the rope break limits.
I like that.
And all that
Not saying you have to put that anywhere else, but I do like that a little bit different. Like you say, every wrestling company's different.
The solution to everything when it comes to finishes is just tell a story, right?
Yes.
That's how you have a loss that doesn't really hurt anyone. Is you tell a story. You don't need to do the stupid, dirty finishes and stuff. It could be as simple as, when Steve came off the top rope, he hurt his knee a little bit, and that's why Johnny was able to take advantage and win. Or you go, the reason that Gavin beat Frunky is because Frunky's just not as good on the mat, and Gavin was able to impose his. Just tell stories. You tell a story within the mat. It really winds me up actually when people say things like, I'm not really into the wrestling. I'm more into the story. It's like matches aren't the most powerful storytelling tool available in all of wrestling. That is your bread and butter. That is where you tell your stories. It's not in some I'm not having a go at the question here.
No. I get where you're coming from.
I'm just branching off a little bit because it's a good question. But yeah, tell a story within the match. Give people a reason to lose. And take it from there. It doesn't need to be DQ.
Yeah. Across all companies, if you book a match, and you should, if you book a match where people go in going, wow, neither guy can really afford to lose this because I've booked both of them to, challenge for a title in the next 2 months. Just commit to one of them.
Yeah,
and
commit
fans
to one
will
of
go
them.
with it. Like you say, whether it's a tweak it in the, these things happen. You go into MMA fights or boxing fights and you go, wow, neither guy can really afford to lose. And one of them does. Yeah. They don't just go, well, someone's jumped the cage, so see you next week sort of thing. Anyway, let's move on to today's ad finally. Just a nice bit of congratulations to WWE's Angel Garza, Angel, whatever they're bloody calling him nowadays, who celebrated the birth of a baby girl with his wife in the last 24 hours, 17 hours ago, I think it was. Congratulations to them. Always lovely to see stuff like this.
Yeah, happy, good news across the board. Hope his family knows about all the Lotharioing he's been doing on
Daddy,
TV.
what do you do?
But no, jokes aside, congratulations, that's awesome.
Do you think they're going to have, like, the baby grow? Like one that has a bottom half, like the dad. If you're thinking about what to get him, if you're friends with Angel Garza, there's an idea for you. But congratulations to them. Lovely stuff, that. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. We're reviewing NXT and looking ahead to Fyter Fest Week 2 on AEW Dynamite a little bit later on today.
There because I forgot it.
Okay, you can follow us both on Twitter. You can follow Andy Murray at...
You can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H today stands for Hey Cora, Jade. You should have recycled that belt. Think of the planet. Think of the whales. Think of Wales.
What would Brian Danielson / Daniel Bryan think?
Think of the country Wales. Think of Andrew Pollard.
Indeed. At Cultured Left Peg on
Shout
Twitter.
outs.
You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, it's been the news. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.